Hey y'all, just getting set up here. How's the mic sound? Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, we're moving. We're moving over here to Unity Connect. We're going to be using this as our streaming platform going forward, or at least we're testing it out to see if it'll work for what we need. But very high likelihood that our live sessions will be taking place over here on Unity Connect as opposed to Twitch, which we used in the past. So welcome aboard. Yeah, if you're not familiar with Unity Connect, check it out. It's pretty cool. I think it's going to be a big part of how we're going to be doing online evangelism going forward. It's also where we've been running a bunch of the Unity challenges, stuff like the Neon Challenge that we just ran and the Machine Learning Challenge. So there should be some cool stuff happening over here. So yeah, welcome to Unity Connect if this is your first time checking out the platform. It's relatively new to me as well, so I'm just kind of getting familiar with it. And it's also been going through some evolutions. This whole streaming aspect of it is brand new. So we're kind of testing in production, as it were. And it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully nothing burst into flames too terribly. If you want to tell your friends, tell them to join us. We've got some assets to download. Assets for today, and yeah, should be cool. Yeah, so a couple of folks asking, are we streaming on Twitch? At the moment, we are not. We're testing out Unity Connect as our new streaming platform, and also potentially as a place to host some of our online evangelism video content that we're doing. Hey, Oboe Shape, aka Darren. This is funny seeing people's real names. Welcome. Yeah, we're starting to stream with Connect. Giving it a try. We'll see how it goes. So welcome, welcome, welcome. This is kind of like soft launch before we do the Hover Racer event next week. Hey, Yannick, welcome. Tony, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, we're kind of trying out Connect to see how it works for us. But some of the guys on the evangelism team in China have been using it pretty extensively and have had some good results with it. So we decided to give it a try here in the English-speaking world as well. So actually, I would like your feedback, guys, on how you find the experience over here as compared to YouTube. I'm sorry, as compared to Twitch. One nice thing about this is that we're using YouTube for streaming, and so we should be able to have the archives appearing there immediately, which is kind of nice, and we shall see. Tony is asking if Anima2D is another premium asset. No, Anima2D was a premium asset that was acquired by Unity and is now free. So Anima is actually in the package that I am posting for download, and you can also grab it from the asset store. Hey, Danny, welcome. Hey, Christian, thanks for joining us. Yeah, so Anima is free. It's developed by a guy out of Madrid, or a small company out of Madrid, two guys, I believe, and they were acquired by Unity to bring the tech to Unity, and in the process of that, we've made the asset package free on the asset store, and then there are plans to create a more integrated version of the tech in the editor, but I don't have a precise date for that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We see some people jumping into the chat. Hello. Let me try to quote this. Yeah, it's published by Unity nowadays for free. Hey, Stephen. Stephen voicing some skepticism about using Connect. Yeah, I'm open to all the feedback. If you guys, you know, feel like it's not working, let me know. I think it's got some cool functionality, like the ability to moderate chat, as you can see that I'm doing, and also the ability for us to use YouTube as a streaming platform, as opposed to using Twitch. So we're trying it out. We'll see, but we're, you know, all feedback is welcome. Constructive criticism is welcome. But Connect is definitely something that I think is going to be a bigger part of what we're doing at Unity in the future. So we're testing it out for our streaming activity as well. So we shall see. Let me jump over to my laptop and post the link here, because I see there are a couple folks showing up in Twitch still. Hey, Tony. Yeah, I hear you about Twitch. That was kind of what led to us starting to use it. But it's not super convenient for us to use as a platform, since kind of right now the only thing we do there is live streaming. So we're a lot more active on YouTube. So using YouTube kind of makes sense. And Connect is obviously a platform that we have created, so we have more control over how it works. So hopefully it'll be a good experience over here, but definitely looking forward to the feedback. Darren says, now my ugly mug shows an avatar, lol. I'm no longer a vanilla-looking lurker. Nope, you are. Now we can see your ugly mug. You can see my ugly mug too. And your mug's not that ugly, come on. All right. Yeah, folks, we're moving away from Twitch. Yep, exactly. You can log in with your Unity credentials, so you don't need to have another Twitch account, which presumably is convenient for folks, since you all should have a Unity account. And yeah, the chat, one cool thing here is the chat is editable. You can edit your last post if you push up, like in Slack or Skype. And if you reload the page, the chat does not disappear, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of a neat little bonus functionality. And, you know, we've got a team working on Connect as a platform, so if there's functionality that we need, we can add it, whereas that's not going to happen for us on Twitch. So that's part of the reason we're moving over here. Cool. Glad to hear some folks are enjoying the experience so far. We're going to be looking at Anima2D today. I've got the links in the main moderated chat in the middle. So grab those there. That includes the Anima asset, so you don't need to get it from the asset store. Anima is now free from the asset store. Unity acquired them and is integrating the technology into the editor, but currently it's available kind of similar to what we did with Cinemachine. Cinemachine is still distributed through the asset store, but it's a free asset owned by Unity. Aaron has some feedback about functionality, the theater mode on Twitch. I like that too. That is actually one of my first pieces of feedback to the Connect team, that I want more real estate for the video player. You can, of course, go full screen. You can also click through and open the video on YouTube in a separate window. If you hover over the video feed, it's just a YouTube embed, so that's another option. But yeah, I would like to work on the UI to kind of give more space to the video player. I agree with that, especially if you're on a laptop. It gets can get tight. You can hide the messenger bar. If you look up in the upper corner, you can hide the live chat. I don't know if you can hide the chat on the bottom. That's actually a good question. So yeah, that's something that I think is some valuable feedback. Cool, we got some people turning up. Welcome everybody. We're gonna go live in about 2 minutes. with our content for today. Slateboard says, please acquire more tech, please. Yeah, I watch this space. I think it's pretty likely to happen. Tony asks, do you plan for Unity developers who typically stream development in Twitch to use Connect also? You know, that's actually a really good question. At the moment, I'm pretty sure that the only people who can stream online on Connect are Unity employees. But, you know, if it turns out to really work, I mean, this is a really new functionality, right? So if it kind of catches on, maybe that is something we'd like to support. I can't give you a definitive answer there, but it's definitely an interesting question. Mathis Sidomo asks, what level is this course? I would say beginner friendly. We're not doing any programming. It's not too complicated. It's animation stuff. So it's going to be all in the editor. So yeah, beginner friendly, I'd say. Needs a night theme. Yeah, I think there is a night theme somewhere. That's a good point. That's a good piece of feedback. So guys, feedback on the Connect platform is welcome in the chat. Put that there, and we would love to hear from you. Right. Okay, I'm just checking on my stream and stuff. Seems to be okay. Let me just make sure that nobody is lost over in Twitch before we actually start the content. All right, just spamming my links over there. If anybody sees anybody lost over there in Twitch, just let them know where we are now. We're making the move. Okay, let's see what folks are asking. Thomas Pasterski asks, was asking you in the past about you making some tutorials about basic RTS mechanics. Do I still plan to do it? I don't have it on the roadmap right now. My current stuff is mainly focused on new features. We're kind of trying to really cover all the new stuff that's coming out. So I probably won't be doing that anytime soon, to be totally transparent. I would love to, but at the moment, I'm really just trying to cover the new stuff. There is some of the upcoming events are on the Connect events page. Actually, let me link that to you guys. Here we go. So this is going to be the new schedule page going forward. So, yeah, Mathis Sidomo asks, will you have to script? No, you will not. And Russell Klowitter asks, will this be watchable on here somewhere before it goes onto the main tutorial page? Yes. This is one of the cool things about using YouTube is that we're going to immediately have the archive available on YouTube, which would be cool. Okay, so I'm falling a little bit behind. Let us get started. So today we are going to be looking at skeletal animation with Anima2D. So what is Anima2D? Anima2D is a free asset store package acquired by Unity Technologies, which allows users to seamlessly author 2D skeletal animations in the Unity editor using 2D bones and inverse kinematics. So basically what this means is that instead of having to draw every single frame in a sprite-based animation, we can now turn our sprites into meshes and do sort of 3D style bone-based rigging of those meshes and then just animate the bones and have the sprites follow along. So it's a really interesting workflow that I think has a lot of potential productivity gains and also some cool stylistic opportunities. So our learning objectives today are that we will learn how to create sprite meshes, configure 2D bones, apply IK or inverse kinematics to a 2D character, and also animate the rigged character. So we have assets to download for this session. This includes the required Anima2D assets, so you don't need to go to the asset store to download them. You can just grab the package linked on your screen at ole.unity.com/Anima2D. So, demo time. What we're going to look at first is this is the completed version of the character that we're going to create. So here we can see we have the character all rigged up, including with IK targets for the hands, right? And if we go ahead and enter play mode, we can see this sort of silly animation that I made here, super simple. Any real animators, please forgive me for my crimes against animation. But you can see the system working, right? You can see that the arms are stretching and deforming. The body is kind of reacting in a interesting way based on the skeleton, and we can see what that looks like with the skeleton as well. So we're going to look at how to create this from a collection of sprites. We're going to do the rigging, we're going to do the IK, and all the processes in between. So super cool, super interesting stuff. Grab the assets if you haven't already and follow along. I'm using Unity 2017.3, which is the latest version, and I encourage you to grab that and check that out if you haven't already. So let's take a quick look at the chat and make sure that folks are on target, and then we're going to jump into the incomplete version of the project and get started. All right, so let's see. Okay, quick. Somebody has some feedback about Connect. Thank you for that. Leave that here. I'm pretty sure that Mark from the Connect team will be looking at the chat history. Thanks, OboShape, for keeping an eye on Twitch. Appreciate that. Any lost lambs there? Oh, nice. Ron McCullough says, this session is super coincidental because I came across it while I was looking into other software like Spine and Creature. Neat. My understanding of this is that this offers a similar solution to Spine, although I haven't worked with Spine, so I can't sort of actively compare. Hey, Denark says, I learned from your tutorials 3 years ago. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Gustavo has a question about shape keys to Blender. Not sure about that one. Slateboard, this does indeed work on mobile. This is the developers of this originally developed it targeting in the process of creating a mobile game. So yes, this is appropriate for mobile. There are some performance considerations, and I'll talk with you about those. Hey, GM Liquid Media, nice, good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This video will be available later. And yeah, it's available now. If you notice, you can actually scroll back in the stream, I think. I'm not going to do it because I might break something, but I'm pretty sure you can. Okay, yes. Thank you for linking the video on YouTube as well. All right, great. So let's dive on forward. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this complete version of the scene and open up the incomplete version. So here's what we've got. So we've actually got just an empty scene here. And what we're going to do is we're really going to start from scratch. So we've got some sprites here, and we've got this rock golem atlas texture, right? So the first thing we want to do is to make it into a sprite, and we want to set the sprite mode to multiple. Then we're going to open the sprite editor. We'll apply those changes, and the sprite editor is here. And then we're just going to slice this automatically into all of its individual pieces, right? So we're just going to hit slice. This is going to break out each piece of the character as a separate sprite that we can now address in Unity. And then we're just going to apply those changes. Now, we can now expand the atlas, and we can see each piece as an individual sprite. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the head, shoulders, and jaw and get those working. And then we're going to do an arm to see some of the weighting of the bones. And then we'll switch over to a more complete version of this so we don't have to go through the entire rigging of the character. So we'll look at some principles, and then we'll switch ahead. So let's start by grabbing this head sprite and dropping it into the scene view. So this comes in as a regular Unity sprite with a sprite renderer. Now, in order to work with Anima2D, what we want to do is we want to, and I'm actually going to delete my complete folder just so we don't get mixed up here. What we want to do is we want to create what are called Sprite Meshes. This is a kind of an intermediate asset type which is going to contain data about the sprite mesh and also the linkages to the bones. So the way that we do this is we're going to right-click on our sprite, go to 2D Object, and we're going to create a sprite mesh. Now you'll see a new asset is created in the project folder, and this sprite mesh instance component has been added to the game object, which has replaced our sprite. So in many ways, this looks similar to a sprite renderer, right? We have a color field, material, sorting layer, order in layer, but we also have these bones fields. So we have a field to set the bones, and then we have a list of bones, and this is new, right? We also have a mesh filter and a mesh renderer, right? So this is actually being rendered as a 3D mesh. And that is what's allowing us to do the bone-based deformation on the mesh. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we are going to set this to the rock golem sorting layer, right? So that this will sort on a layer together, and we're going to be manipulating the order in layer to put things in front of each other, just the way we would do with 2D sprites. So we've got our head as a sprite mesh, or our top of our skull. Let's go ahead and grab the next piece here, which is going to be our jaw. So we're going to grab the jaw, drop it in, and let's just move it down, kind of line it up there with the head, and then we're going to go ahead and create a sprite mesh out of that. Now we are going to want to assign this again to the rock golem layer. Now we can see that we now have some sorting issues, right? It's sorting in front of the skull, and that's not what we want. So we're going to go ahead and assign this to -1 on the rock golem layer, right? Pushing it behind the top of the skull. Now, just for some good housekeeping, I'm going to quickly create a holder object, an empty game object, for the entire rock golem hierarchy. And let's actually make within this another holder that we're going to call the rock, let's call them Sprite Meshes. Excuse me. And so I'm just going to label these. This will be the skull, and this will be the jaw. I'm going to keep the sprite names in there just in case I need to refer back to the files. Pretty unlikely, but anyway, this is how I want to label them. And so we've got 2 sprite meshes there. Let's get one more. We're going to grab this big shoulder sort of chest piece. Now this guy's anatomy is obviously a bit weird because he's a rock monster. But we'll see, we're going to be creating a basic kind of humanoid-like anatomy. So we're going to grab that. And again, 2D object, sprite mesh, and we're going to set it on the rock golem layer. And this is going to be at, this will be like actually way in the back. We'll make this maybe -6. And I'll probably have to play around with those numbers as I go. And this will be chest. And we'll parent it here as well. Okay, so now we've got a kind of set of basic sprite meshes to start, right? We can see we've created 3 new sprite mesh assets from our original sprite sheet with our multiple sprites, right? So this is the first step in getting ready to work with this kind of skeletal animation using Anima2D. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat. When we continue, we're going to start setting up some bones. All right. Shader Graph is in the 2018.1 beta now, Mathis. You should be able to grab it now. It's available, publicly available. Some folks talking about another tool called Dragon Bones. I'm not familiar with that one. Cool. All right, so let's keep cooking here. So what we're going to do next is start to set up some bones for a neck skull and jaw here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new object, which is a child, which is going to be a 2D object, and it is a bone. So when we create a bone, let's make sure we're on our translate tool, and we can see we have this little yellow square gizmo that allows us to move it around. If we click on the handle here, we can rotate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. This is going to be the bone for our hips. So we're going to build up with the hips as the kind of root of our spine. And so we're going to label this as hips. And then we're going to add another bone. Now, if I add a bone with the bone selected, it's going to become a child, and it's going to be assigned, we'll call this spine 1. It's going to be assigned to the child slot of the Bone2D script, which is added to the new game object, right? So these are now linked together. If we grab this and move it, we can see that the children follow the parent, right? So let's go ahead and do spine 1. That's what we're going to bind the chest to, and then we'll go ahead and create another bone, which is going to be the neck bone. And we'll call this neck. And get rid of this random slash here that I accidentally typed. Now, okay. So let's take this and we'll move it down a little bit. And maybe kind of over there. We don't need to be too precise about this because we can adjust. But what we're going to do next is we're going to connect up the skull and the jaw to the neck bone. So we're going to create another bone. And this is going to be our skull. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it by clicking up here, and we're going to drag it over. Let's kind of line it up with his brow line there. And next, we're going to create another bone for the jaw, but it's not going to be a child of the skull, right? It's going to branch off from the neck here because we want them to move independently. So we're going to select the neck game object, and then we're going to go to bone, 2D object, bone. And I got made over here for some reason, and we're going to pull it down. Now you can see, because we now have 2, this one is getting rendered with this little transparent gizmo there. So now we can see, whoop, we have this hierarchy of bones that are going to move together. We can move individual bones individually. If we move one of the parents, it's going to move the children, right? So this is a good start. But as you can see, the sprite meshes are not reacting to the movement of the bones, right? So that is the next step. We want to create a binding between the bone and the sprite mesh. So let me just label the jawbone here. And then what we're going to do is let's start by binding. Let's bind spine 1 to the chest. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select spine 1, and we're going to go to Window, Anima2D, SpriteMesh Editor. Now, importantly, you need to do this with the object in the hierarchy selected. I got a little confused when I was learning this. I was trying to do it from the project view. You need to select the instance in the hierarchy and then open the SpriteMesh Editor window. And actually, I made a mistake here. I selected the bone. What we actually want to select is the sprite mesh. So we're going to select the sprite mesh, right? I'm selecting the chest sprite mesh object, and we can see that it's now highlighted here in the sprite mesh editor. Now, this sprite mesh editor looks very much like the regular sprite editor, but it's got some additional functionality. So what we can do here is, first of all, we can adjust manually, if we choose, the vertices of the outline of our sprite mesh, right? We can also shift click to add points, right? Or we can double click to change the mesh tessellation. A little bit of a tongue twister there. So this is useful. As the bones start to stretch and deform, you may find that you need more detail in your mesh in terms of triangles. So you can do that just by double clicking, which is pretty cool. Another option is that we can do it automatically. If we go to Slice, we can just go ahead and choose the amount of detail that we want in the outline. I'm going to set this relatively low because it's kind of a big blocky object. And then how much tessellation we want in the mesh, and then hit Apply. And then we get a really nice automated outline and mesh generated for us there. So that looks like a great start. I am going to apply those changes, and now in the hierarchy, I'm going to assign a bone to this. So I'm going to assign spine 1 to the Sprite Mesh instance set bones field. Right now, this is going to assign all of these bones that are children. In some cases, that might be helpful. In this case, that's actually not what we want. So what I'm going to do is select the jawbone and then just hit the minus sign here twice. So we need once to clear the reference and another to clear the slot. So now we have just the spine, and we can see here in the SpriteMesh Editor that this has been assigned. Now we're going to switch over to the bind view, and we can see an overlay of how this bone is affecting the mesh, right? So in this case, we have one bone assigned to one mesh, so it's controlling it completely, right? We can also see this pies view, which we'll look at and will be more useful when we have multiple bones affecting a single mesh. So in this case, this is fine. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. And what we'll see when we do that is if we look at the Sprite Mesh asset, let's see, it's not showing it in the preview, but basically this will now have a reference to the bone baked into it. And so now, let's just do a quick test. If we move spine 1, yeah, we can see that the bone and the mesh now have a relationship with each other. And as we move the bone, the mesh will move as well. So we're going to do the same process for the skull and the jaw. So let's go ahead and select the skull sprite mesh, drag in a reference to the skull bone, open the SpriteMesh Editor, and let's see, we want the, okay, just need to reselect there. Okay, we can see the bone displayed here, and what we want to do is, I'm not going to worry about the shape in this case because it's just going to be moving it up and down, so I'm just going to go ahead and bind and apply. And we're going to do the same process for the jaw. We're going to assign the jawbone and bind and apply. Okay, so now we can rotate the root bone, right? We can move just the head. And we are off to a great start, right? We can move well, we don't want to rotate it. We just want to grab it. Make angry noises. We can have a lot of fun with that. So now we've got our sprite meshes created. We've got bones assigned to them, and we're off to a great start. The next step is going to be that we are going to rig up an arm so we can look at how it's going to look when we have a single bone or two bones affecting a single sprite mesh. So we're going to look at spreading the influence of bones across a single sprite mesh. Let's take a look at the chat. Okay. The neck bone is connected to the spine bone. That's right. We can all get together and sing that song at the end. Exactly. Okay, some feedback from Oboe Shape, some feedback from Still over on Twitch. When you're using Connect with mobile, you only get the option to either chat or video, but not both. Good to know. Okay. Somebody points out that Spine charges $300 for this functionality. Well, yeah, there's a very competitive offering with Anima2D in that it's free. Yeah, feel free, guys, to pop out the, you could pop out the YouTube video window, but yeah, I think this is good feedback for the Connect team on, you know, kind of the user experience. Super good to hear. Yeah, we're not allowing chat on YouTube just because Connect is going to preserve the chat history for us, which And I can't chat in two places, right? So we're choosing to chat on Connect. Also YouTube chat. I don't know. I'm just not a super fan. Vladislav asks, I didn't clearly understand for what we can use pies, which you assigned in the Sprite Mesh. I did not assign the pies. We actually haven't used the pies yet. I just showed them briefly. So we will see in the next segment how we can use the pies in situations like creating the arm that we're about to do. All right. Let's see. Okay, see a couple folks are typing. I'll give you guys a second. And then we'll continue. So Carlos asks, I would like to see changing a mesh in an animation, for example, changing its face to the closed eyes one. Yes, you can do that. I'm not actually planning to cover it. We might try to cover it quickly at the end. So if there's other people who would like to see that, we definitely can do it. It's possible. It's not on my list of things to do, but let's see how we do time-wise, and maybe I can just quickly do it. Okay. All right, thank you guys for feedback about the Connect platform. I'll definitely be passing that on to the team. Okay, let's continue. Next, we're going to make an arm. So I'm going to just quickly grab some more sprites for it. We're going to grab this one, and we're going to make it a sprite mesh. And we're going to put it on our rock column sorting layer, and we're going to move it over here-ish. And I'm going to, let's see, for now, I'll need to adjust the order a little bit, but we'll do that in a minute. This is going to be L arm 1, and then where's my other arm piece? This is another piece of an arm, and this is going to drag that in, 2D object, sprite mesh, sorting layer, rock column, move it over here. And so what do I want to do here? This wants to be -1 because it wants to be behind. So far so good. And maybe a little bit lower. And then there's a big funky hand that we need as well. Near this one. And we're going to grab it. Oh, let's label this. This is going to be L arm 2. And then we're going to add hand. And let's move this both up. And actually, let's wait till we do this. So let's make this a sprite mesh first. Sprite mesh, rock column sorting layer. Let's see, I think 0 will be okay for this. Might have to make some adjustments. Giant funky hand here. Whoop. Let's see, we want that to be behind the other one, so that will be -2. Does that work? Yes, it does. Ta-da. Okay, cool. So now we have a arm. So let's go ahead and child that to the sprite meshes. And the next step is going to be to set up some more bones. So we're going to sprout these off of the neck. And so we're going to select the neck, right click, 2D object, bone. And this is going to be L arm 1. And it's going to go up here. Notice, again, we're getting the transparent connection here. And so we're going to do this arm, even though it has 3 pieces, we're going to do it with 2 bones. And so I'm going to create a child here and drag it out. Very nice behavior here that it stretches. Let's get to the middle of that arm. And now we can adjust the length on this second bone and make it nice and long. And we'll do kind of something like that. Okay, then we need to quickly bake our sprite meshes. So what we're going to do is we are going to say the left arm 1 is going to only, and let's label this. This is going to be L arm 2. So left arm 1 is only going to be affected by L arm 1. So we're going to take off the second bone that gets automatically added. We're going to select the sprite mesh, window, Anima2D, SpriteMesh Editor, And we are going to, this looks a little weird, is that right? Oh, yeah, it's a totally wrong object. That's why it looks weird. Apply. There we are. Okay. And so we are going to bind, right? This is fine. It's just the single bone again, right? So we're going to apply that. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We're going to go to LARM2. And in this case, we're going to bind it to both bones. So it's going to kind of stretch based on the two bones. So I'm going to grab LARM1 here, drop it in the set bone slot. It's going to grab both. And now we can see in the SpriteMesh Editor that we have two bones. And if we go to the bind view, we can see this nice gradient, right? And this means the more red it is, the more it's affected by this bone, and the more yellow it is, the more it's affected by this bone. And this is where the pies view becomes handy, right? As we can see the amount that each vertex is affected by that bone, right? And so we can see the influence of each bone on the mesh and how it's going to deform. So I'm just going to use the default settings there. That should be fine. Obviously, you could get in there and fine-tune it as much as you want. Actually, one thing we might, well, yeah, let's just keep it like that for now, just to keep it simple. We're going to apply that. And then for the hand, we're just going to go ahead and set bones for the single left arm 2. And again, just bind the single bone there. Now, if we grab our bones, we can see we're getting this nice deformation of the elbow bone based on the influence of the two bones, right? Now, this behavior is not so lifelike, right? Even though it's a rock monster, right? We could do some animation with this, but what's really going to bring this to life for us is some IK or inverse kinematics, and that is what we are going to do in the next segment. All right, let's look at the chat. Ron McCullough asks, will you be going over physics-based bones? Well, so what we can do is we're going to make IK targets, and I'm going to show how to move them with animation, but of course you could move them with physics. So you could do some like wacky ragdoll type stuff with this because the object will, it'll solve the IK based on the physics object, right? It's not something I've tried, but this is, it should work, right? Because it's just trying to solve for a position. Okay. Good. All right, I'll give you guys a second to catch up if you have any further questions. And oh, we got 228 people, nice. Let me just make sure that the other stuff is working. Huh, interesting. Okay, good. Well, so far so good. I see some people have some feedback about the Prophet asks, Matt, who do you think I am since I don't say, it doesn't say my Twitch name? I think your name says Prophet. Yeah, GM Liquid Media Games, I recognize Oboe Shape because I know him from Twitter. I'm sure there's some folks here. Hey, I mean, post your Twitch name in here so I can recognize you guys. I know there's some regulars here that I'm not recognizing based on your, your real names. You guys see my real name as well. A little bit of a different experience. And you can see my face, my beautiful, beautiful face. All right, cool. So let's speed ahead. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to set up some IK for our arm. Now, actually for our two arms. So now at this point, instead of rigging the whole body, I'm going to cheat. And I've actually made a prefab. We'll save this just in case we need it. I'm going to call it temp. Drop it in the scenes. And I have actually, we'll make a new scene. And we'll just drop in rock golem rigged. Whoa. Oh, and he's not there. Okay, that's a little bit of a, oh Lord. Womp. Okay, that's because I deleted the completed sprite meshes. Okay, abort mission. All right, that's okay. This is why we have a backup. Okay, let me do something real quick here. Dun, dun, dun. It's always got to be something, right? Let me put this, whatever, I'll just do it on camera. I'm just going to open my other project. Don't save that. Demo. It's always something, right? Oh, he's tracking. Hey, nice. Good to see ya. Coach Carter 9, cool. Steak pinball, cool. Ha ha ha. Oh, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun seeing some faces in there. All right, so luckily I've got this in here as well. So let's delete the complete guy and drop in my rigged version. Ha ha. There we go. I will not be defeated by my own stupidity. Okay, so what I've done is I've just dropped in the rigged prefab, right, which has just got the whole body rigged up so we don't have to spend time doing the legs and the other arm and everything, just saving us some time. You saw the principles there, and it would be the same kind of steps, just taking a long time on the stream. So we've got our rigged golem here, and what we're going to do is we are going to add some inverse kinematics. So we're going to open up our hips, neck, and let's do the left arm first. So what we need is we need to add an IK target that the left arm is going to try to reach for. So let's add another holder object. And this is going to be, we'll call this IK, and we'll add a left arm IK target. Just another, these are both empty game objects, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Anima2D folder, into scripts, and then we'll see we have a variety of IK scripts here. I'm going to use this lim2D. Whoa, that's weird. No, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to use this IK lim2D component, add it to our left arm IK target game object, and make sure that it is positioned. We can see this little gray ring gizmo. Make sure that it's positioned basically on our hand. Now, the next thing that we need to do is assign a bone to it, which is going to basically try to follow its position. So we've got left arm 2 here, which is a good candidate. Drop it in, and we can see, gives a little wiggle, turns green, very nice little gizmo there. And the bones turn green to show that this is configured correctly and it's working. So now, if we take the left arm IK target and move it, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? That's interesting. Left arm IK target is left arm 2, transform, it turned green. That should be working, but it's not following. Why you do this, huh? Why you do this to me, rock monster? Oh, I know why. I think it's because it's not a child. Is that right? Nope. Let's reassign that. Left arm. I think I had this happen to me before when I was testing. Did that work? No. Dang it. Ugh. Left arm 2. Yeah, see, that's stretching. That's not doing the IK. It should not stretch like that. This is IK limb 2. Left arm 2 is the target. That's correct. Dun dun dun. Chat, any suggestions? Nice, nice, cool. All right, what's wrong with this? What's wrong? What's going on here? Let me really quickly, let's turn this guy off. Let's throw in the completed version just to see if he works. Complete. Okay, basically the same. No, not working either. I wonder if this is... This may be because it's controlled by the animation. Ugh, frustrating. It looks like it actually is working. Save me, chat. Drag the green circle. That's what I'm doing. I'm dragging the green circle. This is the object. Here's the bone. The bone doesn't want to rotate either. Nothing wants to move here. Something like overriding it. Oh, I just did this in my rehearsal and it was fine, of course. Left hand IK. Move. No, it's not moving. How frustrating. Not restore default pose. How about that? No. Right child, no. Let me do one thing. Let me go back to my temp scene. We won't save this. Let me just, oh, the temp scene is in the other project. Oh, Lord. All right, I'm not going to be defeated here. Let's open up the temp scene. I will not give up, chat. I am going to solve this. Let's not save the changes to that. Let's take a look. I will not be defeated live on the internet. Or maybe I will, but then we'll just have to give up gracefully. Okay, temp, you open. Okay, let's do this on here. Something's gone wrong. We're going to create a IK holder object, and then we're going to create a IK target, left arm IK, and then we're going to add a component under IK. It's going to be an IK lim2D, and we're going to add a reference to left arm 2. Yep, that looked like that worked. No, it didn't. What the heck? Well, it adjusted the pose. All right, let's undo that. This was in the wrong place. We're going to move this to the right place. It did adjust the pose, but it didn't, it's not allowing me to move it for some reason. So we are going to drag a reference to the bone. Just do it. Do it correctly, please. Damn you. Oh. So we can see it's adjusting the pose. I wonder if I animate this. Left arm 1 will do it. Let's try. We'll try anything. No, we can see it doesn't light up. And it doesn't work. No, it's lighting up as if it's correct. There's no errors in the console, right? Nope. Let's see what, put the L arm 1. Let's see what everybody says. Never give up, never surrender. God damn it, that's right. Use a transform. Oh, shit. Ah, God damn it. Yes. Edward Constantine to the rescue. Gosh, I'm an idiot. Oh, my gosh. It's always something, right, chat? Okay. Boy, oh boy. That was the problem. I was trying to use this tool, the rect tool, to move the arm. It moves the game object, but does not do the IK. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I'm not an idiot. Let's go back to the complete project, and we're just going to do that correctly for posterity. Holy cow. Oh, that's a spicy meatball, guys. You got to sometimes, I mean, we're back to live sessions, right? So it's either programming mistakes or it's IK mistakes. Okay. So let's do it again, and let's do it correctly this time. So here we go. So what we're going to do is we are going to, here in our complete scene, we're going to make let's get rid of the complete rock golem. I'll just deactivate him for now. And we're going to drop in the rock golem rigged. Now, what we want to do is we are going to create a new empty game object called IK. This will be a holder object. And then we're going to create an empty child, which is going to be the left IK target. We're going to add a component to this, which is going to be, if we just search for IK, it's going to be the IK lim2D. And then we're going to drag a reference to our bone, which is going to be the left arm 2 in there. Now, in this case, let's undo that. I had the target in the wrong place, right? We can see it is solving, but it's just in the wrong place. So let's go ahead and fix that. drop it in, and now make sure we're not using the rect tool, that we're actually using the move tool. And now we can see a little bit of a sorting issue there, right, going behind the body. We can fix that. Maybe we'll fix that quickly. But we can move our arm, and it will, woo, hi guys, hi there. It will solve the pose in a kind of an arm-like way. So let's fix our sorting issues. Basically, we just want, what's in front of this? It's just the foot and the midriff. So let's select the midriff, and let's just push this back even further. Oh, the pelvis is going to have to go back further too. -4, -5. I'm going to have to push everything back. -6. I had to do a lot of this while I was getting this together, and still didn't push them all far enough back. Oh, this will be, let's just push them back -7. Get a little gimpy there. This will be -6. There we go. Okay, now that should be okay. Let's move the target. Yes. Still going behind his torso. Well, that's only -2. -4. Still slightly broken. That's okay. Rip. All right, there we go. Now we can swing his arm in front of his body, and we can see that that works. So let's go ahead and add another target. Right IK target. And this we're going to position over here. And we're going to add again our IK limb 2D. And we're going to drag a reference to right arm 2. Make sure we have the move tool selected. And there we go. Again, a little sorting jankiness. But I'm actually not going to be moving the arm this way in the animation, so I'm just going to leave it for now. Of course, we can sort that out later on. Okay, great. So let me just save this as IK. Boom. And so in the next segment, what we're going to do is just add some very simple animation to this based on the bones and the IK targets that we've set up. Holy cow. That was a dumb one. Thank you, chat. Good job. I think it was Edward. To the rescue. Ha ha. Oh my God. I mean, we can't do these live events without me doing something super dumb, right? It's got to be something. Wrong tool. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I think what's happening is that this tool, like when you have a, I don't know, I don't know why that tool is even coming up, but it is. Well, hey man, you know, this is good. It's all learning stuff, right? I am not an idiot. Sometimes I am an idiot. Come on, we're all idiots sometimes, right? It happens. Let's be humble here. Let's see. Prophet asks, can you select the move tool and then change the transform to make it follow? Yeah, it does seem strange that it didn't work, right? That is a good point, that if no, adjusting the transform manually, you got to grab it and move it, which is weird, right? Very weird. It feels bugged to me. I think I was doing it numerically before. Whoa, I'll have to think about that. It's a good question. Jeremy Dorn mentions about moving the arms behind the character. Yeah, if it was trying to kind of put its arms behind its back, you could totally do it. You can manipulate all of the sorting order stuff via script, and you can use sorting groups and some other stuff to get a lot of control over it. I'm just trying to keep it a little bit simple here. Yeah. Okay, so let's steam ahead so we can finish on time. So now that we've got our character rigged and we've got our IK set up, let's do a super simple little animation, and we can see how easy that is to do. Now, again, any real animators in the audience, please forgive me for my crimes against animation. This is programmer animation, right? Not sort of real, serious professional animation, but hey, we're just going to muddle through. So let's open up the animation window. Now, we want to make sure that everything, yes, everything is a child of the rock golem rigged, right? We can delete the complete guy out of here for now. And we're going to go ahead and create an animator and an animation clip, right? Nice and easy. We're going to call this rock golem. And we're not going to save it in there. We'll save it in assets, animations, save. And so when we want to do animation, what we want to do is we want to animate the bones and the IK targets, right? Not the sprite meshes. So let's start by doing a little wave your hands in the air like you just don't care, rock golem. So we're going to go ahead and grab our IK target, left IK target. We're going to go into record mode, choose frame 30, woohoo! And that's going to add a keyframe at the beginning, woo! And put his arm up, and then we'll just grab this initial keyframe and just copy it, Control C, paste, Control V, just to loop that animation up. And then we'll do the same. Let's go back to the middle. We'll do the same for the right IK target. Whee! And that is also going to loop. Grab this, copy, paste. Yay! It's funny. This gives me. Let's play it back now. Woo! It gives me kind of like a Steamboat Mickey, kind of like almost Cuphead kind of vibe. That like 30s wiggly arm animation. Maybe that's just me. Let's go ahead. And so that's animating the IK targets, right? You can see we can kind of overshoot a little bit. You see the IK targets getting a little further away and the arms won't stretch or get messed up. We could also maybe add, let's add some intermediate frames so that the arms are like not like so scrunched up. Maybe something like that. Ooh, yeah, that's a little better. And then we could let them scrunch up on the way down. Maybe not so much on the way down. A little less, so it's like not so loopy. Boink. Roar. Let's do something with the jaw. Let's go ahead and do it here, maybe. We'll say, rah. We don't want to totally dislocate his jaw there. And then let's get the jaw position, copy that. No, we want the start position, copy, paste. Maybe we'll have him close it back up by the time he's got his arms in the air. Rah. Look, he looks so happy. Look at him. He's having fun. All right, good. And then maybe we'll do a little body movement so it doesn't look so static, right? We get the arms moving, we get the jaw moving. Let's get the whole body moving a little bit. Let's grab the spine too, I think is the one we want. Whoops, not like that. No, not like that, rock golem. Ooh, maybe I'll do a little shimmy to the side. Woo, it's party time. That's not what we're gonna do. This is a serious rock golem. Roar, we're gonna go up like that. And then back down. Where's the spine two? Here we go. Maybe we'll go back down a little. We'll just do it in a loop. And let's exit record mode and play that. Rawr! Scary rock golem. Not very scary, right? But as we can see, he's doing some animation. Didn't take us very long to author that animation. And as you can see, right, if we want to make a change to the animation, we don't have to sit here and redraw 60 sprites, right, or 30 sprites. We can just go ahead and adjust the keyframe, make a change. If we wanted to give him a hat or something and add that to the hierarchy, we could do that, right? Just make it a child, and then the movement of the bones is going to take care of it. And we don't have to go in and hand animate, like every time our character has a hat or a sword or a piece of armor, we don't have to make new animation, right? We can just add that in, turn the game objects on or off, and make changes that way. So a lot to be gained here, I think, in terms of productivity and workflow. It's obviously a different style of animation, right? So you're going to want to make sure that this style of animation is right for your game. But I think there's a lot of really, really cool possibilities here, kind of bridging the 2D, 3D style. And I think a lot of cool sort of workflow affordances as well. So that is our show for today. Please be sure to check out Anima2D on the Asset Store. If you haven't checked out the 2018.1 beta, I encourage you to check that as well. There's a bunch of really cool features coming down the pipe that are available in there that you can grab and play with now. And obviously, if you haven't gotten 2017.3 yet, I encourage you to check that out as well. There's a lot of great stuff in there. So thanks so much for watching. My name's Matt Schell. I really appreciate your being here with me. Thanks for joining our inaugural session on Unity Connect. I appreciate all the feedback about the platform. I'll be passing that on to the platform team. And I'm going to hang around in the chat here and answer some further questions. But for those of you guys who are on your way out, thanks again, and I will see you next time. Oh, important plugs. Next week, we are doing our Hover Racer live training event. It's a 3-day event, February 13th, 14th, and 15th at 8 p.m. GMT. I've posted an event for that on the Connect page. We're going to be streaming the videos over 3 days from training day at Unite Austin. And there's a link on the page now where you can sign up and download the assets in advance if you want to get the jump on that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. I'm going to be there hosting, and Mike Geig and Andy Touch, who are the trainers from the original live event that we're rebroadcasting, are going to be there in the chat to take questions. We're going to be looking at a bunch of cool new features, timeline, post-processing, and stuff in the context of an awesome game with some awesome assets from the team who are making the game Anti-Graviator, which is a Unity title that's coming out very soon. And looks super awesome. It's kind of like an anti-gravity racing game, really polished and nice looking. So we've got some assets from that to play with, and it should be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you then. And yeah, so let me take a look at the chat, and we shall see. Thanks all. Thanks for your thanks. Let's take a look at what we've got. I'm scrolling up. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what that behavior was like. I will pass this video on to Sergey, I believe his name is, the developer of Anima2D, and I'll make sure he sees it. It's probably just me being dumb, as usual. We have a question from Mathis about, okay, let me try to use this. Let me try to use this typing thing. So, question about visual scripting. So the basic answer for that is it's something we're working on, but there's no release date. I'll just try to use this quote chat functionality, and we'll create a record of some of these questions. Yeah, C-Straken, aka Prophet, mentions that maybe Anima has a bug in update, or it's something about execute in edit mode. I'm guessing that there's something that's controlling the position. Once you get the IK in, right, you're controlling the position of the transforms. I'm guessing there's something that's controlling the position of the transform that I'm just not understanding correctly. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's funny, GM Liquid Media. It reminds me of Cuphead too. Obviously, Cuphead is like, it's an interesting comparison, right? Because Cuphead is all really intense, hand-drawn, frame-based animation. So it's interesting, and it's based on that kind of 1930s Steamboat Willie old animation style that was like very frame intensive, which is how it got that kind of wiggly movement. So it's interesting that we get something that feels a little bit like that using this approach. I think part of that is that we have a very smooth interpolation of frames, right? We're not drawing 15 frames or 30 frames a second. We're getting 60 frames a second of animation because the animation system is interpolating the animation. So it's an interesting fact. John Robinson asks, where should the colliders be put on, the bones or the sprites? I would put them on the bones, because if the bone registers a collision, the bone is going to drive the motion, right? So I would put them on the bones. Let's see if I can quote that. I would put them on the bones. Whoops, no. I think this quoted chat history would is going to be preserved, so we're going to try using that. Yeah, okay. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Javier. Yep, thanks. Cool. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Appreciate it. Obo bouncing between platforms. Yeah, Obo, give me your feedback on like what the main difficult. Were you watching on mobile? Was that why it was difficult? Anyway, the archive will be up on YouTube, I'm pretty sure, immediately. So hopefully that helps. Download the stuff for the next session. Good question. Let me give it to you. This is the, where is it? Here we go. Copy. So basically you sign up with your email and then it will email you the assets. Sign up here to get the Hover Racer assets. And then you'll get an email like reminding you when the session is starting to and stuff. That's one of the things where hopefully we can get a little better with Connect, is that Twitch is a little bit limited with like the notifications. It just sends out an email when you go live. And I'm trying to get something going where you get like an email earlier in the day to tell you, hey, don't forget the session is tonight. Come on down, blah, blah, blah. So we're trying to get that like working a little better too, which I think we're going to be able to do better on Connect. Jeremy, please just give your feedback in the chat. I'm going to pass this chat log. And I'll pass the chat log to the Connect team. Mark from Connect will definitely be curious about how this went. We'll be looking at it. So, yeah. I'll be going live again next week, February 13th, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night. I'm going to put that in the chat too. Okay, so Ron McCullough asks, can clipping masks work with Anima2D, like keeping a pupil inside the eye or an object inside a lantern? Yeah, no. This is actually something I'm curious about too, and let me try to catch up on the questions, and then maybe we can mess with that, because I'm not sure with the Sprite Meshes how much they work with the other 2D features. If they don't work now, they should in the future. So kind of little note about the roadmap for Anima. So basically, Anima was a third-party asset developed by a couple of guys in Madrid called Mandrina Games. And they were also making games, and they built the tool for a 2D mobile game that they were making. And then Unity saw the value of it, bought it, made it free on the asset store, and hired, I think his name is Sergey, the developer. And so he's working on a more integrated tool that achieves this functionality, right? I don't think it's going to be exactly the same. It'll be something that's like as a package integrated into the editor. I don't know when that's coming or anything like that, but I know that that is the basic plan. Yep. Yeah, happy to. Actually, yeah, okay, let me give you a, I'll give you a forum thread. That's a good point. Where's my forum thread? Forum.unity.com. Let me grab a forum thread. Teaching and certification. We do have a community learning and teaching. We have a live training thread, which is where? Here somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Live training topic suggestions. That's free live training. Okay. So give me feedback in here if you like. put that in the main chat. Jeremy Dorn asks to get the events added to a Google Cal. That's a great feature request, and yes, I want that. Yes, I'm going to document that in the middle there as well. Yep, this is the events page. Yes, thank you for linking the events page. This is the new schedule. So you can register for those events now. We got a bunch of upcoming events, and I'm pretty sure it's going to give you notifications for those. Okay. Yep, you can register for upcoming sessions. Yes, thank you for pointing that out, guys. Thanks all. Okay, Luca asks, is it possible to somehow restrict the movement of the bones so that they cannot stretch, rotate in a certain way? For example, that the bones in the upper and lower arm can't have more than 180 degrees between them. Yes. I'm pretty sure you can. I don't know how. I mean, I know that the limb, this limb, has kind of arm-like constraints to it. I think it's got some constraints built in. I couldn't tell you exactly what. But, like, you can't really crumple up the arm like you could by directly manipulating the bones. But it's worth noting that there are multiple IK components here that you can look at and play around with, right? If this limb is kind of a simple one to use, but if this doesn't work for you, you could try some of the others. Good night. Thanks for coming. Okay, good. Glad to hear. Thank you for doing that, Obo, guiding people over from Twitch. I wasn't sure how best to do the the changeover. I just figured I'd just do it, right? Test in production. Damn the torpedoes. Ron McCullough asks, is Anima2D constantly updated with new features? No. It's more or less static in its current state until it gets integrated in the editor. That's my understanding anyway. So what you see is what you get there on the asset store for now, and then I think the new development is going to take place in the integrated version. Hello? Yes, you can rewind to the beginning. I'm pretty sure I enabled the DVR option on YouTube, so I think you could just rewind back to the beginning, and I think when I cut the stream, it'll be immediately available. Yep. All right, thanks, y'all. Okay, yeah, I'm going to wrap up as well. It's getting late here in Berlin, Germany, but thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It's awesome. Thanks for the feedback on the Connect platform. I'm sure there will be some ways that we can improve, and we're definitely eager to do those. One of the great things about being on Connect is that it's a platform that we are actively developing within Unity, right? So if we have really critical features that we need, we can make them. Obviously, we have limited resources. It's a small team working on it, but that's kind of the point of us doing this here as opposed to on a third-party platform that we don't control. So I think there's going to be cool stuff in the future here, so watch this space. Keep an eye on the events page for all the latest, and thanks again for watching. I'm going to go off mic. I'll keep the chat going, and I will see you all next week on Tuesday. Bye.